The corner, the corner, the corner. Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you will find real, authentic conversation. Organic conversation. Like you're at home with your cousin. It's about life. It's about finance. It's about spirituality. It's about love. And everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey to explore life. Listen, let's sit back and enjoy a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on, a wide range of spectrum of thoughts. My goal is to create a space for all of us to connect, all of us to learn each other, and all of us to communicate. It's really not about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy this. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about the corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner. What's going on, fam? What's going on? It's your boy Cousin Ed. We are back again. I am so delighted this afternoon, this morning, this evening. Whatever time you listen to this show, I am just, y'all don't understand. One of my favorite people is here with me today, and we have another guest on the show. This is going to be for Black Women's Month, but it's Women's Month in general. But I'm celebrating the Queens. That's what I'm doing, celebrating the Queens. And she's going to be co-hosting this episode with me. Let me get it right. She's going to be hosting this episode for me. For when my sister wins, we all win. And I'm just without words. Y'all don't understand. I'm looking at two queens right now. And to have Dr. Pia Washington back with us again is just priceless. So I'm going to sit back in the cut. I'm going to go in the corner and have whatever in my cup over here while they take over the corner. And Dr. Washington, welcome back to Cousin Ed's Corner. I'm honored to have you. Please take it over. I know you let yourself in. Turn off the lights when you finish. I'm in your hands.
Thank you so much, Cousin Ed. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm most excited to introduce you and all of your listeners to a wonderful, dear friend, sister girl, friend of mine, Antriece Hart. And when I tell you guys you're in for a treat, Antriece is quite literally one of the most positive, upbeat, inspirational, motivational, successful example of a woman who's not only living her best life, but she wants everybody else around her to live their best life as well. And she genuinely lifts everyone else up when she's in a room. So I am certain that you guys are going to get fed today. And I am just excited to be the one to introduce her to your listeners. And so before we get into her wonderful background and all the things that she's done, I just want to say, hey, Antriece.
Hey there. Listen, that is an intro that I just absolutely love. They say you should live your eulogy. Listen, I want to live that intro because that was beautiful. Oh, sister girl, love you. Thank you for having me. And Cousin Ed, thank you as well.
You're definitely welcome.
You are welcome. We are happy to have you. I immediately, when Ed said he was doing the segment on, when my sister wins, we all win, I immediately thought of Antriece. I met Antriece, I think it was about 6 years ago now, Antriece.
Around about 6 years.
Yeah. And so we, a group of girlfriends of us all worked in the biotech space. And that's how we first met. But I want to tell you, the night I met her, I remember I had picked her up. She had not not long ago relocated to California, and I'll let you introduce yourself and your background. But we had mutual friends from the biotech company that we had all worked for, and I had put an invitation out there to come with me to something that one of my clients was having. And Antriece, being the fun-loving, full of life person she is, she was like, "I want to go." So my first introduction to her was picking her up to go to an event, and I honestly felt like I had known her my entire life. I don't know if it's because we're both from kind of like that same Midwest background or what it was, but you know, when you meet someone genuine for real.
It was love at first sight. It really was. Sisters at just immediately. And it's been that way ever since.
Yes. So Antriece, I have your bio and I know a lot about you, but I like to have you introduce a little bit of your background to the listeners. Tell everybody kind of like, you know, where you're from. Tell us a little bit about you and your life.
Yeah. Well, the first and foremost is what you said that I appreciate you mentioning is that my goal is always to inspire and motivate. I want to live an authentic life. And I want others to do that as well. Just the best that you can. You know, I think about in the Bible when Jesus told the Pharisees and Sadducees, like they're whitewashed tombs where you can look good on the outside, but in the inside you're rotting. I never want a life that looks good, but actually isn't good. Right. And so that's what I'm always striving to make sure that I'm feeling fulfilled and helping others to do their same thing. So you asked where I was from. I am a Motor City, Detroit girl, born and raised in D-Town. And so I lived there, but I actually moved in high school to Louisville, Kentucky. And Pia, that is a very big difference between Detroit, Michigan to Louisville, Kentucky. Culture shock, you know, culturally, just everything was very different for that. But it was a beautiful experience for me to be able to move and expand how I work with the world and how I engaged in so many different ways. So that was unique. And then most of my career for work, I actually went to college in Kentucky. When I was there. And then, but most of my work has been, and my career has been in pharmaceutical sales. I was in finance background, not as accomplished as you, Dr. Washington. I come to you as a mentor, but I did start off in finance, but I moved pretty quickly into the pharmaceutical biotech world, as you mentioned. And I've been doing that for 23 years. And so increasing in different positions there. Just last week, I was promoted to regional business director for the West. Yes. Absolutely. And I'm just blessed because this will allow me to be able to pull others up, right? It's an opportunity for people to see a Black woman in this position in the biotech world, to inspire others again, to be your best self. And listen, I'm coming back and I'm pulling people up with me. But this position was of interest because personally, I am a caregiver to my mother with Alzheimer's disease. And so I will be working in that realm. I worked previously in the oncology world, and I led a team with oncology, but now I'll be leading in the Alzheimer's world. And to be able to have a positive impact on patients with this devastating disease, but also caregivers, is just my why. My mother, as you know, Pia, is a light. And although she is at this point severe Alzheimer's, she doesn't always remember who I am. But I'm okay with being a nice Black lady that is nice and she loves. We go dancing. A couple of weeks ago, we went to a jazz club and we just danced together. And you know, she even had a moment of realization and requested a song. She did God Bless the Child. So, you know, we drive on the PCH, we eat ice cream, you know, so again, she's a great reminder of the importance of living your life. And it's so important to me. And I've been married for 22 years to my husband, Antriece Hart. We share 3 children, Elijah, Caleb, and DJ. And my oldest, DJ, is now going to be having his own child soon. So I'm going to be a grandma. But listen, what I'm not about to do is be named grandma. We got to think of another name. Come on now. Come on, sisters, with some different names.
Come on,
Yes.
Mimi.
I was thinking, listen, since my last name is Hart, I was thinking maybe Lovey, something
I
little
love
play
it.
on Heart and Love. I know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
Cousin Ed, you think of something. I see you in the back with your red cup. If you think of something, just feel free to jump on in with that too.
I definitely, I cannot believe you're going to be a grandmother. So yes, I understand.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. But yeah, it's all about how we live our best life. I have motivational speaking. I enjoy doing that. And speaking, whether it's children or to the young or young at heart. I've done some things overseas in South Africa and taught dance and, went to some detention centers. But wherever I can be able to use my light to be a light to others, that's the goal. That's the goal. We must live our best life. And, I think a lot of people that do know me, they get excited because I've won on a few game shows. So that's pretty fun. I won a car on Price is Right. I won on Let's Make a Deal. But the coolest thing is that when people are exposed to things like that, they believe that it's possible. So my son saw me win on Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal and a few other things. And so he himself, as a 12-year-old, won $47,000 in prizes. He won a car, he won jet skis, he won a trip. So
hold on, I gotta interject. Shut the front door. Somebody real that did it?
Yes.
Somebody of my complexion that did it?
Yes,
That's
they
real?
did. It's real. A mother and son duo. How about that? Come on now.
Listen here. I'm putting my name in the hat.
You better. You know what it is though?
But wait, there's more. Tell them about meeting Oprah.
Oh, that experience, and I'm gonna tell you that, and I'm gonna tell you the why behind it. So my sister-in-law had a dream. April, hey, shout out to you, April Mackay. She had a dream that she met Oprah, and Oprah pointed to her and said, "Do you have a question for me?" And she said she woke up. And so she called me. She says, all right, I had this dream. I'm going to meet Oprah. For my life, I've always had dreams and visions, I believe. And so she said, I'm going to meet her and you coming with me. I said, absolutely. So it wasn't until a year later that she got tickets to a show. Now, Oprah's show was done, but she was doing these large meetings where she was having different people speak. And so at these huge venues. So we won tickets, or she won tickets to this large venue. It was in Houston, Texas. I'm in, at that time, I think Pittsburgh. She was living in Detroit. We got our tickets. We met in Houston. We get in line. Now we're just thinking, we'll just be in the place. I don't know how we're going to ask this question, but we're going to ask this question. So we're in the building and the people walk up to us and says, oh, wait, you have a pink, thing around your arm. You need to come with us. They pull us out of line and move us to the front of the line. So we're like, oh, well, maybe we'll just be closer to the front at the floor. So we're walking down the floor. They say, oh, no, you two, come on out. So we're like, okay. They move us into the front row. So now we're in the front row and I'm thinking, okay, you're going to ask this question. And at that time you could tweet when she was going to be on stage, and we thought, okay, you're going to ask that question. I need to note that she still did not know what that question was going to be, but she knew that she was going to pick it. And I told her, God, be prepared for him to blow your mind. That's the mindset. He wants more than we can ask or think. So just be ready for that. Have the audacity to believe that he's going to do it because he already showed you. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting in the front row. They kept moving people around us, but never moved us. So we're looking at each other like, girl, she's looking at me like, girl. So we're excited. We're waiting. At that time, it was Rick Warren was the guest that she was speaking to. And he does Purpose Driven Life, which is an amazing book as well. And after the completion, April is tweeting, and Oprah looks back at the tweet and turns back around, doesn't answer her tweet. So we're like, okay, she hasn't answered anything, but it's going to happen. And so the show begins to end. And then because we're in the front row, Oprah comes and shakes everyone's hand on the front row. Now, this is a large Coliseum. You're talking about, hundreds and hundreds of seats. So people are yelling her name, and she gets to where we are in the middle, and she grabs April's hand, and April puts both hands around hers and says, Oprah, I dreamt this moment. May I please ask you a question? She says, absolutely. At this time, her shoes were off. She put her shoes down and just kneels down before April. And April says, may I ask you, what do you do when you're trying to push past fear and achieve your best life? You know, you want to live your purpose and you're trying to push past that fear. What do you do? Oprah taught us in that moment how you are present with someone. Imagine her in front of this woman that is pouring her heart out, that had this dream, and it was as if it was just those two people in the world. People were yelling her name. People were, trying to vie for her attention. She made sure she focused 100% of her attention on April in that moment. And she basically said, it's all about that faith. If you get to a point where you believe that you can't do certain things, it's really because you're believing in yourself. You have to pursue what you know God told you to do, and you got to trust and believe it to be so. And she gave several things. I do have a link, that I share sometimes. It shows the actual examples because by the grace of God, I had enough in my mind to tape it. So that experience is on video, which is fantastic to see. And in that moment, she gave her that time. And then when it was over, she got up and she walked away. She turned around a couple times and said a couple things to April. She said hello to me. We were all bawling, crying. But I want to tell you, within that week, April went and took her LSAT, passed it, and now she's a lawyer. And so it's about not only the experiences that happen, but what do you do with those experiences? How do you apply those experiences to your life? And then how do you pull those forward and enable for the ability to bless others as well? So, yeah.
One of the things that I love about you so much, Antriece, is that you do have this, the faith like no other, right? And so one of the things that Antriece would always say to me or to, our group of sister girls, shout out to Mag 8, is, faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear. And, whenever we're, contemplating a big move in our life, she's just always been so encouraging. But you have a life motto that's very similar. And that life motto is?
No fear lives here. No fear lives here. So I've skydived on my 40th birthday. I went skydiving, and I wanted my sons to see that as well. They ran to me afterwards. I've been cliff diving. I'm not afraid to try things that are new experiences. And that's just, of course, physical. But we want to make sure that we're living a life that we don't allow fear to stop us. And when we do have fear, we do it anyway. There's opportunities for us to do things and experience things in life that we won't have if we allow fear to stunt us and stop our growth. So yeah. But I remember, think about this too. When we met, the event that we went to, I said, watch this. We're going to get front row. We're going to get something.
Sorry.
Yes.
Antriece effect.
No. And guess what?
Okay. We have to set the scene for this, Cousin Ed. So all the listeners, I was working for NBC Universal at the time in Hollywood, right? And so they have a little show called The Voice. And so we had gotten tickets to The Voice. And so that was the event that I had, invited, this group of friends to. And so Antriece and another one of our girlfriends said yes. And so it was Felicia, right? It was you, Felicia, and I. And we get there now, I'm working for them, they're a client of mine. So I'm like, okay, I got the tickets, but I don't have any real pull to get us any better seats. When I tell you, same thing happened. We got a wristband that got us way closer than we were ever going to be. And Antriece, she just was like, this is just what happens. She just, honestly, I love it because I'm a big believer in like faith and like manifesting, but I think that the Antriece effect is like a tenfold because she just knew going in. Oh, and me, I'm a little nervous. So I was like, oh, I don't know. We're not supposed to be here. She was like, oh no, girl, it's fine. Watch this. And I will be darned if we did not get right. And when I tell you the singers were spitting on us, that's how close we got.
Yeah.
That's how close we got.
I can tell she has that effect already. Speaking of the voice, I got to jump in for 1 second. I must say your voice is amazing. I'm not sure if you've done any voiceovers or anything. Oh, I must be.
She's a singer too.
There must be something out there already.
She's a singer too.
I can tell. Listen, I can actually tell that you're
That's
trained.
amazing. Thank you for that. That's such a kind compliment. Thank you.
If you're not doing it now, you need to be doing it somewhere, somehow. Everybody needs to hear that voice of yours.
I receive that. I would love to do voiceover work. It's interesting. I actually have in my phone, they have where you can do voiceover for books. I love to read.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I read 3 books at a time. I do audio, and then I love the paperback. But I was like, I would love to read books, and I had not pursued that yet. So that's in my 2023 goals. So thank you, Cousin Ed. I needed to hear that confirmation. So this is a blow your mind moment for me.
See?
Thank you.
I'm telling you, it's already
Everything
put
happens
there.
for a reason.
That's
Now,
fantastic.
you talk about everything that
Go
you
ahead,
do.
please.
I mean, you just got this amazing promotion. You have a very demanding job. You're a caregiver to your mom as an only child. You're a wife. You're a mother. You're an amazing friend. And, you do so much.
Thank you,
How do
sweetie.
you balance it all? Like, how do you give his listeners kind of an example? Like, that's one thing that I would really love for you to share.
Yeah. First of all, you have to be intentional. And I can't say that I cannot say that I always hit the mark, but I am always intentional about that. And that's physically, mentally, and spiritually. I start all of my days with visualization. So even if I'm just laying in the bed, I think about, what do I want this day to look like for me? When I wake up, I do some type of meditation. There's a few apps that are out there that you can do. And I make sure I start off my day mentally prepared to do so. I do something spiritually. I spend some time with God every morning before I start my day, and I do something physically to walk. So I walk or I do exercise. Listen, I could barely walk yesterday because I was doing some squats and some arms. I said, well, wait a minute, am I out of shape or what? But I try to do something physically, mentally, and spiritually before I start my day to get myself together. Sometimes I just dance. I put on my favorite couple of songs. I'll do at least 2 songs, and I will literally just dance. But I bring joy to myself. I want to make sure that I am pouring into myself, especially so I can make sure my cup is full so that I can pour into others. The other things that I do is that I understand the importance of prioritizing. So whether it's at work, the key is, and I make sure that people in my career understand my family is my priority. So although I'm going to be taking care of things for work, they know that if my family calls, that's my priority, because that's the ball I can't drop. If something happens to me tomorrow, they're going to hire somebody else to do my job immediately. That is not the same case for my family. So I make sure that is a priority that everybody in my circle understands professionally and personally. And then I also do something throughout the day so that I don't become too overwhelmed, and there's step away moments or I do step away days. So at least once a month, I do a day where I am not married, I am not a parent, I am not a caregiver, I don't have a job, I just exist. I love to go down to Malibu and to the pier, which is, I found out it's owned by a Black woman. That part. So I love to go down there and just walk. I love therapy. I've done a therapy session on the beach. And so I take time to do that time and step away. But I also have step away moments, even if it's 30 seconds where I just step away and breathe. I make sure I take that time to do that for myself. And then last year I started something which was Step Away Week, where I did a solo trip in Mexico. And so every year I want to make sure I'm taking that time away to just have Antriece time to really reset and understand and have a life balance for myself. I think that's critically important. But prioritizing, taking that time to step away, but starting my day physically, mentally, and spiritually clear has really helped me to be intentional so that my cup is full before I go out. And I'll tell you, my son and I were talking, my youngest, Caleb, because my oldest is more like my husband, more laid back, reserved. My second born, or to me, so I have a stepson that's the oldest, but my youngest being Caleb, which would really be my third, he's more like me. So he's just a wild child. Like, we dance in the living room, we have dance contests, like it's all about it. Yes, if I say he goes boop boop boop. Like we just make it happen together, right? But and having that personality, sometimes you become a people pleaser. And so I had to teach him to unlearn some of the things that I did as a people pleaser. And so it can lead to depression or, when you're not getting or hitting the mark like you feel for others. So something that I taught him that I also do, to your point, Pia, is that in the mirror, I speak life to myself. So that I am hearing myself and seeing myself affirm who I am and also what I want to do for the day. So those are some of the things that have helped me to maintain a positive attitude so that if my cup is full, then I can make sure I'm filling those around me
amazing.
as well.
It's so amazing, especially when you think about women. You think about women, right? Women History Month. You think about women and how we have to, not any disrespect to you, Cousin Ed, or all of our wonderful husbands and sons out there, but it just is something about being that mother figure, right? We give life, right? And then we have to breathe life into our families and pour into our husbands. And then we have careers, and then we have, extracurricular activities. And so I think that this is such a powerful message, not only for people, but for women and for Black women. Because you speak about so much about the intentionality and also taking care of yourself and filling your cup up, because you can't, it's the oxygen mask on the plane, right? It's like if you have to put yours on first before you can help your children or anyone else or your mom or anyone else. So I can attest, because I see her live this like every day, like that. She's, sometimes you might have a guest on a podcast or something that, whatever, but I know this to be how she really lives her life. And so I think that's a blessing.
Well, but I thank you for that. And it continues to encourage me and others to do the same thing. The thing is, too, Pia, I'm doing that without guilt. You know how we do. Sometimes we take care of ourselves, but then there's a guilt factor to that. Absolutely. God wants us to care for ourselves. He wants more than we can ask or think. So we have to make sure that when we're taking that time for ourselves, that we don't feel guilty about it, nor do we allow others to make us feel guilty. Even in my relationship, it was new for my husband for me to say, okay, I'm having a step away day and please don't call me unless it's an emergency. It's like, because that you could feel rejection, but it's like, I need this for me because now you're going to see me be a better person. I remember when I went away for my solo trip, I said the first time last year, before I left, I couldn't even turn my head to the right-hand side because of stress in my neck. And that was the first thing he noticed when I came back is, oh, you can turn your head. It's like, oh, yeah. Because you get to those moments because your body's going to show it. Your mental capacity is going to show it. It's going to come through. So we have to take care of ourselves and do that, again, without the guilt. Yeah. And the one thing I was going to say about the reason why I believe these things happen, one is having the audacity of faith. When we believe that God can do amazing things, he wants to come through for us. And it's not that he gives us every single thing we want all the time, because we couldn't handle that. You don't give a Ferrari to a 3-year-old, right? He has to get us to where we can be so we can handle the blessings and be good stewards. But I think he wants to reward us when we have the audacity to believe what he's going to do. And so, but I also believe that it's always bigger than us. I remember having a conversation with my oldest. He's 27, and he was saying he wanted to achieve certain things, and he wanted money for this. And I said, why? Why do you want that? Because if you want it so you can floss on somebody, that's not it. But if you want it for a reason that's bigger than you and something that's going to be able to bless someone else, that's where we really get to living our purpose, because it's not about us. It really is how we use our purpose and service for others.
I know that motivating and encouraging others, not just your family, but everyone that you come into contact with to live a purpose-driven life is part of your your mantra and your goal in life. But also this concept of living your best life, and we've talked about that. And that's kind of my last thing that I really want for you to share is because people throw that around, living my best life. What does that mean to you, Antriece, living your best life? Because I I believe that if there was a definition in the dictionary, that your face would be by it, and all the fabulous pictures of you on the pier, on the beach, reading a book, walking in the sun. Like, she's like, if you go to her social, she's got visuals, all these beautiful visuals of herself, like just enjoying life. But I would like for you to share, what does living your best life really truly mean to you, Antriece?
Well, it really starts with authenticity. I talked earlier about, not living a whitewashed tomb, living that type of life. It's authentically living a life filled with peace and joy. I was asking this question to people that I love and trust, as you know, Pia, you were one of them, and just asking other people, what does that best life look like for you? And I pulled away what people were saying and what that means to them, because one, it made them think about it. I actually had a dream, and God said, ask that question. And I was like, I don't want to ask people that. They're going to be like, that's something that's personal, but I did. And it made people really reflect on that. But one person told something to me that I really appreciated. Her name is V, and she said, I like to live a life where I know what my best life triggers are. So understanding what things make your life feel the best. And for me, my definition is truly living authentically, and that it has peace and joy. Now, for me, a best life trigger is adventure. Like I said, if it's game show, if it's, skydiving, whatever it is, I love adventure. I love to learn. I'm extremely curious about life and about others. I want to meet new people. I can have the best, most deep conversation with the person that's pumping the gas, because they have a story, and understanding that people have that story, that's a best life trigger for me, to learn and know someone new that can encourage them, and vice versa. I'm encouraged as well. So those are things for me, but I encourage every listener, Cousin Ed, Pia, I've already talked to you about it, but truly thinking about, what does living your best life really look like for you, beyond the facade of what it looks like? But truly, what does it mean to live that? And then if you're not living it, what do you need to do? What adjustments need to be made so that you're living that life? Because we only get one life to live. And it's important that we're living our best one.
Wow. You are a true inspiration, sis. I mean, every day I appreciate you. Whether it's, based in spirituality or faith or humor, Antriece really, like, truly though, I want you to know, and I'm saying it publicly in front of, anyone who will listen to this, that you are truly an inspiration and a motivation to me. And I really appreciate, you being a part of my life and my friendship circle. And I just wanted to have this opportunity. Thank you, Ed, for having this opportunity to share her with you and your listeners.
Pia, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. You pushed me. You said, listen, that ain't mag-8 behavior when I start to slip. So everything you said, I put right back to you, sis. And I just appreciate you so much. And thank you so much, Cousin Ed. This has been a true pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity.
Listen, I'm blown away. I was already blown away before the show started, and I'm even further blown away now. Two dynamic women going into Women's History Month, coming out of Black History Month, seeing two queens that's doing big things. That's just so much love between y'all and passion between y'all. I can see it just through the picture and through the video right now, and just hearing the conversation itself, I can see that it's genuine and caring. But I have a couple questions, and if you don't mind me jumping in real quick.
Sure.
How important is it to be intentional? You mentioned it, and I think people lose the idea behind what intentionality is. For me, growing up, I played sports, so I had to be somewhere a certain time every day doing something. So repetitiveness is something that's in me, but that's intentional. I have to do this. A lot of people in life are not taught that, to be intentional. So how important is that?
And you're talking about consistency and discipline. So you can have consistency and discipline and not truly even have the intention behind making a difference. You can just be doing something to just be doing it. So I think when you talk about intention, that puts that on it. That puts that purpose behind it. That puts something that you're working towards that again goes back to being better, or even something that will live beyond you, that's bigger than you. So yes, you need discipline. Yes, we need consistency, but we also need that intention that is bigger than us and that looks for us to be looking to elevate our lives and the lives of others.
Wouldn't you say that's like what you said to DJ, right? It's the why behind it. Like you could get up every day and go to practice, but why? Like why? Like what's the purpose? Are you intentionally, trying to become better? Are you, what is the, so I bring that back too. It's like everything that we do, right? I would say that we have to be intentional about everything that we do in our relationships, in our careers, in our, habits and everything, right?
Absolutely. And how noble is that intention? You know what I mean? When you're thinking about truly, when you think what you're looking to do and what you're looking to accomplish, because God knows our heart. People say that, but if he knows your heart, guess what? He knows your heart.
He knows
so
your heart.
He knows your heart, right? So what's in that heart that's coming out? We say that, but really think about what that intention is. Is that a noble intention or is it a selfish one? Nobody's perfect. We're going to be doing things. We have selfish ambitions, all of that. But at the end of the day, when we're looking for intention and putting that distance, that consistency and that discipline behind that, we want those things to be purposeful and really have a noble intention behind those. That's when we really get the outcomes and the elevation that we're looking for. That's where the difference becomes for not only for us, but for others.
You just put the cherry on top of on top of it for me. So thank you very much. Do you have any last closing words for the audience?
The thing I will say is, again, look at your life. The reason you hear me talk a lot about authenticity is because we live in this social media world and people are only showing things. They're taking 100 pictures and showing 2. And so I really want everyone to really reflect on their lives and that they are living a life that they are proud of for themselves. They're living a life that's authentic, and there is nothing like love, peace, and joy. Get some.
Get some.
Get some.
Dr. Washington, you know how I feel about you. Thank you very much for hosting this episode. Do you have any closing words?
I'm just in awe of this beautiful woman that is sitting before us on this computer screen, and just very grateful. That's all I got. I'm just thankful. I'm very, very thankful because, a wise person once told me, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. With friends like you, honey, my future continues to look very bright.
Oh, I'm so grateful. You got me walking and dripping in gratefulness. Thank you. Thank you both.
Y'all are amazing. I'm glad to have y'all on the show. Dr. Washington, you know that this is your home. You're welcome back with any friends, family, or loved ones you want to bring back to the show.
Thank you.
Anytime.
I appreciate that. And thank you, Antriece, for being so gracious to accept the invitation. So thank you. Thank you both.
Antriece, she going to make a copy of the key for you. You can come down anytime. Listen, the brown stuff is under the cabinet.
I'm going to be at the corner of the couch. Don't worry. I'm going to be here. Sipping on what I got in my red cup, too.
The brown is on the bottom and the white is on the top.
There we go.
I love it.
Let's open that cabinet up real quick. Thank you again. You guys are so gracious. Very much appreciated.
Everybody, if you enjoyed the show, definitely send a text message to 762-333-2032. That's 762-333-2032. Also, you can go to cousinedscorner.com. That's cousinedscorner.com. Across the top of the page, leave a voicemail. I will play the voicemail for both of these queens, and send the text messages to them. We'll talk about it on the next show. Please go out and support Sisters in Business Expo, the Sistah Shop, Aisha, Issa. Please go out and support her and her business. Also, when my sister wins, we all win. When my sister wins, we all win. That's all it's about for this month. And always. I'm dedicated. This show has this year has changed. I'm dedicating this to my sisters because I truly believe in y'all and love y'all for all y'all do for us. So, family, I love each and every one of y'all. Nothing y'all can do about it. It's your boy Cousin Ed. We out of here. Peace.
Hey, y'all. Aisha here, founder and CEO of the Sistahs in Business Expo, the country's only multi-city small business expo and community created to celebrate and educate entrepreneurial women of color. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. And remember, when my sister wins, we all win.
This episode of Cousin Ed's Corner was brought to you by the Sistah Shop. Please be sure to visit them at thesistahshop.com. That's THESISTAHSHOP.com. Thesistahshop.com. Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed's Corner.